fighting for Black students and educational equity, resilience under Trumpism, how to stay sane under fascism, the battle for democracy, what's at stake in 2026, healthcare under attack, fighting Trump's cuts, and building patient power from seed to system, building a local food economy in South LA, theater as a force for change, voices from Palestine. The Constitution is not self-reinforcing. Racism on the left, building communities of care, federal changes and their impact on healthcare in LA County. Committee for the First Amendment and more. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. We'll see you there.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
Hey, it's Jesse Jackson Jr. on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Gina is the president and CEO of 519 Productions. That's her birth date, by the way, an executive producer, creative director of the program director, and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Smiley Audio Media, KBLA Talk 1580. She's the host of Reflectivity on this show, Fat Meat Fridays, a graduate of Hampton University with a Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication, Arts, and Journalism. Gina also earned her Master's of Arts in Theology and Social Justice from Princeton Theological Seminary. Gina co-produced the Emmy Award and Emmy-nominated documentary, Hampton University, One of the Wonders of the World. And as a songwriter, she co-produced and is the performer in her single, Yes, which hit the charts at number 26 with a bullet on the Billboard. Gina, hey, welcome to Fat Meat Fridays.
I'm not on in this hour.
Oh, you're not?
No, but I'll stay with you until.
Yeah, well, I sure appreciate it because we got your mic all jacked up. Now,
hi, Ted.
Is Ted even here?
Williams is here.
Hey, Ted.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Hey, Ted. Ted Williams I am so glad that you're here. Ted is an educator, actor, author, and teaches political science at the City Colleges of Chicago. He's a graduate of the University of Chicago, Rutgers University, and Northern Seminary. You see that my tone is now getting very serious.
Oh yeah, I'd rather hear Gina talk today. To be honest with you, that sounded more interesting. You know,
his acting credits include NBC's Chicago PD, Showtime's The Chi, various films, plays, and commercials for companies including Empire Carpet, Cheerios, and Subway. Williams is the former host of WYCC PBS Television's The Professors, author of the book The Way Out, Christianity, Politics, and the Future of the African American Community, and creator of the musical theater production 1619, The Journey of a People. He was a previous candidate for the Chicago City Council and currently serves on the Illinois Reparations Commissions. He and his wife, Rosalind, have 3 children, and if I have anything to say about it, give it about another year and a half. If the City Council is all that he wants to do, he will be there. We're going to aim a little higher, though, if I have any say about it. Hey, Dr. Williams, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, my brother. How are you?
I mean, it's great to hear your voice. I decided, without much permission or reflection on reflectivity, to invite Gina Towns into the first hour. Gina, welcome to Fat Meat Fridays and your show. G, it's on you. What you gonna do? I said an on and an on and an on and on.
The beat don't stop till the break of dawn.
I ain't playing.
I'm on the show.
Okay.
Here I am.
All right. Hey, Ted, listen, let me ask you a question. So much of what we only have about a minute before we come forward, and we have an hour to talk about it. So much of the president's personality includes, but is not limited to, reaction to any negative news and to his behavior. Obviously, the Epstein files has gotten under his skin. And I'd like to explore, for at least part of your show and the wonderful contribution that you make, what the consequences and ramifications are of a malignant narcissist who sees themselves or hears of themselves in a negative light, and to deflect. It is the deflection that has enormous consequences for millions of people, if not people all around the world. I think that's a very, very serious subject matter, and I can't think of a mind that has given more consideration to the hour that we live in greater than Ted Williams. Gina, we have about no time before we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, it's Reflectivity. Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, Ted Williams and Gina Towns, we're going to engage.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Life moves fast. That's why California makes voting easy. You don't have to wait until Election Day. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box, visit an early vote center, or mail it. Over 80% of Californians vote early, and you can too. Plus, when you sign up for Where's My Ballot, you'll get a text or email the moment your ballot is received and counted. Don't delay, vote today. Get more information at sos.ca.gov. A message from the California Secretary of State.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest in this hour is Professor Ted Williams. Ted, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you again for having me, brother. Always good to be here.
Hey, Ted, I want to transition after this question right into the arts and how arts really define our era. But I wanted to ask this question about malignant narcissism because, I mean, if I were writing a play today or writing a song, or I were Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield, or if I were singing a song about the moment we are the world, starvation and famine, if I were a farmer looking at a farm crisis, I might join Farm Aid and sing along with the country and Western singers. But so much of the times is captured in the art itself. And before we get to the art and some of the work that you're doing and the plays that you're writing and the themes that, well, are under the surface of what we may see without deeper reflection and interpretation, so much of the times that we're living in are deeply reflected by tone, the tenor set by the leader of our nation or what's taking place in the world. And when I think about, the president of the United States deflecting from owning his own behavior, whatever that behavior might be, it has profound and troubling consequences for the American people, and it reflects in our interpretation of reality. Your thoughts about the question?
Yeah. So I remember hearing when Trump first came down that golden staircase, that escalator back in 2015. I remember conversations about how could America have a presidential candidate that looked like him, that was as narcissistic, was as materialistic, was as sexist, was as racist as Trump, was as unserious as he is. And I actually remember having a conversation with someone and even hearing some commentary that suggested that really Trump is not sort of an aberration in the American story. He's not an anomaly in America. In fact, Trump is most likely a reflection of who we are.
Oh, wow.
And in that way, we ought to look a little differently at his actions. The British, I just read a British columnist who talked about the bully nature of America over the last 100 years, the ignorant nature of American foreign policy over the last 100 years. The idea that we don't need to know about what is happening in the rest of the world, but our money and our power protect us from really understanding or really needing to engage in a sensible way with other people. I think Trump is a reflection of the worst of us. And in many ways, I am more concerned about what he represents in the American populace than I am about him and his own individual actions. Because any
Wow.
country that can see this on a consistent basis, and as you have heard, my brother, many people who have said, particularly on the right, but even those on the left, I like him because he keeps it real. I like him because he talks plainly. I like him because he does not take any mess from other countries. This is, at its core, the nature of who we are, and it's a spiritual issue. It's a moral issue. It's an educational issue. And so long after Trump is gone, we will still be dealing with the reality of what the American public has become. And that, my friend, is a much, much larger issue.
Ted, as we prepare to move into the area of the play that you've released and the work that you're doing in the arts, can you share with us how the existential circumstances of your existence and our existence reflects in the art as you write a song, as you write a play, as you paint a painting? How does it present itself through the mind of the creative?
Yeah. Paul Robeson, who's one of my heroes, said that artists are the gatekeepers of truth. We are civilization's radical voice.
Mm.
Like yourself, I have been engaged in the political space for some time, ran for office, and engaged in many, many ways. And what I recognized that when I was campaigning door to door in Chicago's Ninth Ward some years ago, I remember wanting to take time to educate people, wanting to take time to talk to them, wanting to take time to engage with them around their issues and around what's happening and let them know about the various branches of the government and the history of the area. And I realized in the campaign process, it never really afforded that space, time, and place. And so I, after going through that, realized that my role as an educator is an extremely important role. And there is a Chinese proverb that says, what I hear, I forget, what I see, I remember, and what I do, I understand. I recognized that I needed to take what I was doing in the classroom and put it out in a space that was larger, where people could not just hear about democracy and hear about righteousness and hear about progressivism and hear about social change and hear about, but they had to see it also. They had to see these things and not just hear about them. And for me, the arts are a phenomenal way to do that. If you think about this, America's biggest export, of all the things that we export and import in this country, our biggest export is our culture. The African American contribution to America, most significantly, is our culture. We are American culture. There is no American culture without us. You can go through the majority of music genres, and you can go through television and media, and you can go through food and clothing and all of these things. And so I realized, my brother, that those who control culture control the minds and the hearts of the people. So as an educator, I understand I have a role. Now, Amiri Baraka said that artists, African American artists particularly, don't have the luxury of just making art, paraphrasing, but essentially that navel gazes, that, I'm going to sing about the pain that I've had and how my woman left me and how my dog died and those sorts of things. That's, country music people. But we don't have the luxury of just doing that. We have the hearts and minds of people, and we must take those and we must use them in the struggle for liberation, political liberation, social liberation, moral and spiritual liberation.
Gina?
It's interesting that you brought that up, Ted, because I look back on the early 90s and I think about all the conscious music, the rap that was going on at that particular point in time. KRS-One, Public Enemy, You had a lot of conscious music, and all of a sudden it went away. And it does influence culture, because when you bring in new names for women, or what our focus is, you do control the masses in that way. There's a very pointed period that we could look back to see when all of that broke down. So you are absolutely right. Whether it is film, and of course Spike Lee, brought that to the forefront early on with what's the one with Brothers on the Wall? I need the what's the movie where he says there's no brothers on the wall? Hello? Hello? Oh, where is the audience? I'm sure people are driving.
I'm missing the reference. I'm sorry.
You know me.
Do the right thing.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
You all have failed. I want your black cards right now to turn them in. So where have we gotten off track here, Ted? Because clearly, we have gotten away.
Yeah. So what I think is going on, and what has happened, is there has been a consistent move, politically, socially, and otherwise, towards benefiting corporate America, large corporations who have made record profits. I mean, if you look at what's happened politically since the 1970s, you think about in the 1970s, they represented about 25% of federal revenue, and their contribution to federal revenue now through corporate taxes is about 7% right now. And so what we've seen is 80s, 90s, 2000s, you've seen this constant move towards a lack of responsibility and accountability for corporate America, profits overall. We see this within the media and the entertainment industry as well, very heavily. We understand that the people who are making the decisions for what goes out and gets played on the radio are people who, at the end of the day, are trying to maximize their profits to the greatest extent. And with that, they have made very clear and conscious decisions to make sure that they platform and highlight those that would make them more money, no matter how deleterious their content is. And those that would put out content that would elevate and inspire our people would not have that same level of support. The Pied Piper story, I know we know about the Pied Piper, quote unquote, being from Chicago, but the Pied Piper story is really a story about how a person with music could walk through a community and get all of the young people to follow them and could lead them wherever they wanted, good or evil. And I would suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that when you listen to the content, and I hate to sound like a prude, because I used to listen to a lot of things in the 90s as well that probably were not the best for us. But when you think about the barrage of content like this that is talking about our women and focused on this idea of money over all things and sexuality and those kinds of things, the impact on our young people is it might be incalculable. And I think with that, we as people of good conscience and good faith must do everything we can to support those who are trying to use their art to elevate and inspire our community.
Ted, we have about 3 minutes before we come forward. The Hard Break at the 30. Share with us your new project and your thoughts about it and how it's been influenced by what's going on in our country.
I appreciate that. So we're doing our 1619 work, continuously doing this musical that I wrote called 1619. But right now I have a new production, and the working title that I've been using is called Level. It's about a group of people who are trapped in a subway, and they're from all different backgrounds. 2 of them are of European descent, 2 of them are Latino, a few of them are African American. And they're wrestling with the questions that above the ground that they would never really be engaging with. Questions of class and race and humanity and love and death and heaven and hell, and trying to figure out what makes us human. And for me, I am someone that desires to foster conversation, to foster connection, to foster communication. But in reality, when it comes to human beings, sometimes it takes us getting to our lowest point for us to connect in the ways that we should have been doing before that. And so I want to be a force for generating this kind of conversation in a time where there's so much division, so much anger, so much hatred, so much rage, and really using this kind of work to take to communities to say, hey, we are stronger together than we are apart. We have differences. Those are good, but we are not going to continue to allow the forces of hatred and division, like we've seen, particularly with, post the Charlie Kirk phenomenon and that his assassination. We're not going to allow them to win. That's what this work is about.
Gina, his work is responding. I mean, I don't want to say it's a reaction, but it's certainly a response to what's going on.
Absolutely. He's using his gifts as actor, teacher, and preacher.
Yeah. In the moment that I think about Isaac Hayes, and I think about Stevie Wonder, and I think about Marvin Gaye, what's going on. I think about Dionne Warwick. These men, these women took the art, particularly the blessing that God has given them, and it impacted their reality. How they transformed and decided to discuss reality from the perspective of their art and communicate a message, to Ted's point, that can reach beyond our shores, but also touch our souls in moving people to think about this. I think when Dr. King traveled with Mahalia Jackson through many different occasions within the South, Dr. King was reflecting on the ability to do so without giving a speech or without choosing, in his own mind, the wrong words. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. This is the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA. This is Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns. Our very special guest on his show is none other than Dr. Ted Williams. More with Dr. Williams and Gina Towns when we come forward on KBLA 1580.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James says President Trump is using the justice system as a, quote, tool of revenge, end quote.
This is about all of us and about a justice system which has been weaponized.
Speaking after pleading not guilty to federal mortgage fraud charges in Virginia, James called the case an attack on her soul, but vowed to keep doing her job. Federal prosecutors are asking a judge to bar Black New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell from contacting her former bodyguard. The two are accused of fraud and conspiracy to conceal their romantic relationship. Prosecutors say the restriction is necessary to keep them from interfering with the judicial process. And Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is endorsing Andrew Cuomo for mayor and plans to campaign with him soon. The two previously clashed before Adams dropped his re-election bid. Adams says his support is meant to stop Democrat socialist Zoran Mamdani. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's the World Series. These players live forever. Watch baseball at its finest. The World Series, presented by Capital One. Major League Baseball, trademarks and inclusion.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers had a solid game on offense and defense last night in their 37-10 win over Minnesota at SoFi. The defense sacked Minnesota quarterback Carson Wentz 5 times. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert had 3 touchdown passes. The Chargers are 5-3. The World Series jumps off tonight. It's game 1 for the Dodgers and Blue Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 5 o'clock local time. The Dodgers are 9-1 in the postseason. Blake Snell will be the Dodgers starting pitcher. In Snell's last start, he threw 8 shutout innings against Milwaukee and had 10 strikeouts. The Lakers and Clippers are at home tonight. Both teams are looking for their first win. The Lakers are facing Minnesota, the team that knocked them out of the first round of the playoffs last season. The Clippers take on Phoenix in the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Tavis Smiley with a final word here about the upcoming Left Coast Forum on Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. As you know by now, our major keynoters include Professor Richard Wolff and Dr. Cornel West. LA Mayor Karen Bass will be there as well. But listen to some of these plenaries: fighting for Black students and educational equity, resilience under Trumpism, how to stay sane under fascism, the battle for democracy, what's at stake in 2026, healthcare under attack, fighting Trump's cuts, and building patient power from seed to system, building a local food economy in South LA, theater as a force for change, voices from Palestine. The Constitution is not self-reinforcing, racism on the left, building communities of care, federal changes and their impact on healthcare in LA County, Committee for the First Amendment, and more. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in the National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from Black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of Black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4th. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
Megan Good, Michael Hyatt, Golden Brooks, Ty Burrell, Christine Devine. They're all coming together on Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios for the Kids Film Awards, a red carpet celebration of young filmmakers from right here in Los Angeles. Presented by Kids in the Spotlight. The Kids Film Awards showcase original short films written, cast, and performed by local youth. Powerful stories across every genre, from drama and comedy to action and suspense. It's a night that blends Hollywood energy with real community spirit, highlighting the future voices of film. These are the next generation of storytellers stepping onto one of Hollywood's biggest stages. Come out and experience a night filled with film, music, and inspiration, where creativity, community, and purpose meet. Tickets are available now at kitsinc.org. That's KITSINC.org. The 2025 Kids Film Awards, Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. show on this Fat Meat Friday, our last show of the week. Our very special guest with Gina Towns, Reflectivity, and Fat Meat Fridays, our co-host and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. Our guest is Dr. Ted Williams, who's an educator, an actor, an author, who teaches political science at the City Colleges of Chicago He's a graduate of the University of Chicago, Rutgers University, and Northern Theological Seminary. He's capable of preaching and very capable of laying out a moral message that makes sense for all of us. Dr. Williams, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you again.
I sure appreciate you being here. Dr. Williams.
So, Dr. Williams, I was going to say Ted.
You know,
the play that you've been writing, it reminded me a lot about a movie called Crash. Have you ever seen that movie? One of my favorites.
Excellent film.
Excellent. Because I do like what you talked about, the entire space of it, having to think about the person that's next to you, the person who works with you, about humanity. So where can we see this, and what's the process that you're in?
Yeah, so I'm in a developmental process right now with this show. So I have a stage reading in Chicago at the Beverly Arts Center tomorrow at 2 p.m. So anybody who's in Chicago, come check us out. If you're in LA, you can still get a flight, okay, and come on out and join us in Chicago. And we're doing a stage reading, or we can come out there. We'd love to do that. And then what happens after that piece of it, I've gotten a grant to do some of this initial work. We will then take that to a couple theaters in our community. I have a cast of 7 people, and I'm actually not in the show at all. I'm only directing, and I wrote and directed. And that's kind of fun for me too, because I do a lot of acting, but it's fun to be on the other side to really help to create a vision. And then we will go from that point to a full production, which normally will take about a year or two once we secure the funding and that kind of thing. But we did get the funding for the initial piece. And I think that we will be moving forward, because I just am convinced, once again, that we have to show our community, we got to model the kind of behavior that we want. We have to allow people to know, and fortunately, it's sometimes being done in a fictitious space before it can be done in a real space, that we walk past each other every single day on this planet in cities like LA, New York, Chicago, and don't see the humanity of one another. And when we do that, you know, the othering of people, this is, by the way, at the core behind the mass deportations. It's the core behind the cutting of social programs and social benefits in our society at this time, bombing people. I just read that we have now bombed 10 different ships in the Caribbean that they thought the U.S. government thought were involved in the drug cartel, supported by drug cartels. And
37 people are dead.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, and you know, go back to politics a little bit, because, you know, I'm a person that, just like both of you, by the way, which I love hanging out with you all. I'm a person that lives at the intersection of faith and justice, and the arts for me as well. And that, I know, obviously, as well, Gina, that is your space also. My dissertation was entitled Theater, Theology, and Justice. And so that intersection is so critical to me, that we are in that space. And so when I talk about politics for a second, President Trump admired President Duterte in the Philippines, who conducted an extrajudicial war on drugs, in which there were no trials and there were no juries and there was no arrests. They just killed people who they thought were engaged in the drug war. Trump has been talking about this for years, since his first term, and now finally has the ability to do it. So this is what's going on, but that can only be done, brothers and sisters. It can only be done if you other people who don't look like you. I remember after Charlie Kirk was killed, the governor of Utah, who many people thought he gave some great words, and I was so disturbed by what he said, because he said he very clearly, he wished that the killer had not been one of them. He wished he had come from somewhere else, and he shared that. And it revealed his heart, and it revealed the heart of so much of the American public. It is very easy for us to see these families who walk across the border and who travel hundreds of miles and look at them as though they're not us. And so it's easy to be cruel to them. And yet, what happens when that person looks like you, when that person is you? That's what this piece, by the way, is about. It is about stripping away all of the titles and all of the accomplishments and all of the hierarchy that exists in our society. And when you are in life and death situations from different walks of life together, how does your humanity come out? And can we get to the place where our humanity can come out before we get to that? When we're in traffic, when we're at the grocery store, when we can see someone who is different from us and provide the two things that I think are most missing in our society.
I love the way you said that.
And critical thinking.
I love the way you said that because I've been sharing over the last week, maybe the last 2 weeks, that when we refer to a human being, a child of God, as illegal, we then set ourselves up for the next level of human degradation to justify whatever the ultimate behavior is we are prepared to carry out once we've placed this label on people. These are, at best, these are people who are undocumented. They need a job. They need to be able to work. They need to provide for their families. And so to dismiss them wholesale as illegal and then call them alien as if they're from another planet is to engage in the otherization at a scale, Dr. Williams, that we have never seen.
Yeah.
I want to ask this question, Gina, and I'll turn it back over to you. The question again between interplay of art and reality. I mean, again, I don't know enough names to call. Michael Jackson, they don't really care about us. Curtis Mayfield. Even This Christmas by Donny Hathaway is a very different take on Jingle Bells and Jingle Bells, right? Stevie Wonder, Black Man, Stevie Wonder, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday song, Dionne Warwick, Michael Jackson, We Are the World. There's a consciousness that comes from the art form for those artists that have the courage to express themselves. I can imagine that if William Shakespeare were writing today, he could not ignore George Floyd. He could not ignore the Voting Rights Act. He could not ignore minority rights. Ted, again, the interplay of art and, it's almost like beating the bongos while on the plantation, letting the other slaves know that tonight we're gathering or tonight we're going to escape or tonight soon we will be free, because you communicate in a way that the society cannot hear, but over time it does come to understand.
Yeah. And I think for that reason, people like that are so dangerous. I know we got a limited time here, but I used to fault artists for not making the right music. And what I realize is that those who do are ostracized by the powers that be, and they're warned about the messaging, just like the drums on the plantations. That's a large question. We could talk about that more.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns. More when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580. Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in a National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
They say the hardest part of getting something done is getting started. Well, we did that 30 years ago, when California first took on the tobacco industry. Now, smoking is down 60%, lung cancer 52%. A couple of our cities have already ended tobacco sales. A California without big tobacco isn't just possible, it's already happening. See our progress at undo.org.
Life moves fast. That's why California makes voting easy. You don't have to wait until Election Day. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box, visit an early vote center, or mail it. Over 80% of Californians vote early, and you can too. Plus, when you sign up for Where's My Ballot, you'll get a text or email the moment your ballot is received and counted. Don't delay, vote today. Get more information at sos.ca.gov. A message from the California Secretary of State.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that hits Black families hardest. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and it's not a normal part of aging. Early signs like repeating questions, missed appointments, even trouble handling bills might seem small, but they matter. The good news? There are treatment options available that may slow AD when diagnosed early. Don't wait. Visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more. This message is brought to you by AZI. The Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center proudly presents its 27th annual Real Black Men Short Film Showcase. Join us Saturday, October 25th at the Writers Guild Theater, 135 South Doheny Drive in Beverly Hills, California. The showcase will feature over 20 films by emerging Black male filmmakers from across the country, ready to let their stories be seen, voices be heard, and visions come to life. Saturday, October 25th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now on eventbrite.com. For more information, call 323-957-4656 or email bherc@bherc.org.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a clip, everybody. Roll a clip.
Even Homer Simpson rode the escalator behind Trump, whose hair sucked Homer into his scalp. Since Trump announced, the escalator's fame has risen. In interview after interview,
we have to make a lot of improvement.
You can see folks riding it behind Trump, taking pictures of him and even of the escalator itself.
The famous picture escalator, but not too close.
The escalator shares the atrium of Trump Tower with a cascading wall of water.
Hey, you want to ride the escalator?
How was the ride?
It was something else.
I would definitely wear a crown if I were him, just like Kira.
The campaign will have its ups and downs, but the escalator will have them simultaneously. It's a selfie magnet. Is the escalator in there?
And I have the Donald handle.
There we go. What do you have?
The Donald handle, see?
Well, you do have the Donald
That's
hairdo.
right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Holy escalator! Look at the light emanating from that thing. That is some escalator.
It sure is.
It's escalating right up to heaven.
It sure is.
With or without the stop at the White House. Ginny Mo, CNN.
It's like God. Oh, I got the chills.
New York.
It is. It's God.
Gina, I've got to be living in some kind of alternative universe here.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I heard Steve Bannon this week doing an interview with, I believe, a CBS correspondent where it was suggested by Steve Bannon that Donald Trump is some kind of figure from divine providence. And so the whole escalator scene with the light behind it, as if God has specifically laid his hands on Donald Trump. Ted, it gives us a moment of pause and reflection on just how well outside the purview of morality and decency and political normality that we are.
We are an entertainment-driven culture. This is back to what we were talking about with the arts as well. I wanted to mention Childish Gambino's song "This Is America," and I want to mention the work of people like Fela Kuti, who literally spent his entire artistic career really talking about government and government oppression. And honestly, I would suggest once again that these folks don't necessarily get preeminence. And so Donald Trump is an entertainer first and foremost. That is what he is. He understands how to manipulate the media. I'll never forget in his first campaign, the president at CBS at the time, said Trump is horrible for America, but he's great for our ratings. Therefore, we're going to continue to cover him. And he knew that. And so it does not surprise me that in this entertainment-driven culture, that the escalator, this golden escalator, becomes something that people, want to see. And my theory in all of this is, I hate to say it, but if you can't beat them, join them. And what I mean by that is, if we understand that entertainment is such a significant part of our culture, then we must take reins of the forces that put out content. And we've got to put out content that elevates and inspires rather than tears us down.
Gina?
It's interesting because that clip in particular came to fruition. You got The Simpsons first, and then you got Donald Trump actually coming down that escalator and becoming president. And the other thing I thought was very interesting about that clip is, as Jesse mentioned, the glow. And so it really is an indicator of how we are influenced. We are influenced in our faith. We are influenced in the things that captivate our attention. And I just think for that particular clip, I always have wondered, how do the Simpsons know what's going to happen? That's not the only instance. And I know people have questioned that, but it's not the only instance in which they seem to have foretold something. But if you think about a lot of films, especially like Civil War, we watched Civil War the other day. We're kind of at that point where you have a couple of states that are at war with the federal government. We have a takeover. And so Hollywood actually seems to predict sometimes, but certainly does speak to what's going on in our society.
Ed?
Yeah, the $1 million question is, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life?
That's it.
And I would say it's some strong combination of the two. But I will tell you once again, think about historically the film Birth of a Nation and the use of imagery by the Ku Klux Klan through this film. From what I understand historically, the idea of the Ku Klux Klan lighting crosses and burning them really was either born and or grew significantly because of this film and it being shown in the White House under Woodrow Wilson. And so we understand that art matters. It's significant. And I will always, 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 always fight to the day that I leave this earth to make sure that our kids are getting something better than what the majority of messaging that they're getting right now through our music and our media.
So we have about 3 minutes before we come forward. We're grateful for your participation in our show. Two things. One, where can we support your work at the theater?
Wonderful. Thank you again for that. Ted Williams III. You can find me on all the social media platforms, and whatever I'm doing, I'm talking about it, trying to put it out. Website, tedwilliams3rd.com. But I hope and believe, and let me say this as well. Picasso said that all children are artists. things trying to get them to quit when they get older. I would encourage people to use their own creativity to make sure that they are saying something about the times that we're living in. I would be much more concerned, and in some ways I am still concerned, but very concerned, if we did not have a insult level that caused us to produce art that countering what was going on. And I do see art all over the place doing that. So I'm one person, but I really encourage everyone to support artists who are doing conscious work, uplifting work, and to produce whatever you can themselves. But I am one person, TedWilliams3rd.com. I write plays and all of the things. We write music, and we're just trying to make sure that our young folks and our older folks as well walk away from their time with us educated, entertained, which only means to hold people's attention, by the way, and inspired that they can do something in this world. And my brother, I know you're working on your end. We're all working, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Ted, is TedWilliams3rd.com spelled out the third, TheThird, or
actually, I caught it both ways. It's actually 3 I's, but if you put the third, you'll get it too. But 3 I's is the easy way to do it.
All right, fantastic. Ted, thank you for joining us on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Reflectivity with Gina Towns on Fat Meat Fridays. We're so grateful that you spent this time with us, Gina.
We will see you on the 4th Friday of October.
Awesome.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Listen to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More on Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James says President Trump is using the justice system as a, quote, tool of revenge, end quote.
This is about all of us and about a justice system which has been weaponized.
Speaking after pleading not guilty to federal mortgage fraud charges in Virginia, James called the case an attack on her soul, but vowed to keep doing her job. Federal prosecutors are asking a judge to bar Black New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell from contacting her former bodyguard. The two are accused of fraud and conspiracy to conceal their romantic relationship. Prosecutors say the restriction is necessary to keep them from interfering with the judicial process. And Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is endorsing Andrew Cuomo for mayor and plans to campaign with him soon. The two previously clashed before Adams dropped his re-election bid. Adams says his support is meant to stop Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's the World Series. These players live forever. Watch baseball at its finest. The World Series, presented by Capital One. Major League Baseball, trademarks, used with permission.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers had a solid game on offense and defense last night in their 37-10 win over Minnesota at SoFi. The defense sacked Minnesota quarterback Carson Wentz 5 times. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert had 3 touchdown passes. The Chargers are 5-3. The World Series jumps off tonight. It's game 1 for the Dodgers and Blue Jays in Toronto. First pitch at 5 o'clock local time. The Dodgers are 9-1 in the postseason. Blake Snell will be the Dodgers starting pitcher. In Snell's last start, he threw 8 shutout innings against Milwaukee and had 10 strikeouts. The Lakers and Clippers are at home tonight. Both teams are looking for their first win. The Lakers are facing Minnesota, the team that knocked them out of the first round of the playoffs last season. The Clippers take on Phoenix in the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
You ready?
You're invited to the KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair on Saturday, November 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Catch at Audubon Middle School in Leimert Park, 4120 11th Avenue. Join us for a day of health, healing, and community connection. There will be health screenings, immunizations, wellness information, a Catch Charter School recruitment fair, plus music and healthy snacks. And it's all free at the KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair, Saturday, November 8th, 10 a.m. p.m. to 2 p.m. at Audubon Middle School in Lamert Park, 4120 11th Avenue. Come out and bring the entire family. And if you have not yet checked out our KBLA Health and Wellness Hub, you should at KBLA1580.com. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks Catch Charter School, Prudential, Eastside, Cedars-Sinai, and St. John's Community Health. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that a healthy community is a thriving community.
That's right, baby.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays with none other than the creator, the producer of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Gina Towns. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hi, Jesse Jackson Jr.
Hey, you know what? I'm ashamed to say that it's that cold time of year. I feel like it's not early winter, but it is definitely late fall. And whenever it gets cold, well, every now and again when it gets cold, I pick up a little neighbor in my house.
Ben.
Yeah. Just starts running around my house and, raising all kinds of hell. So this year I've decided, since he or she is proving to be particularly elusive, and I'm a stickler for cleanliness. I believe in sanitary. If I walk in your front door and something doesn't smell right, I'm going to make an excuse to get out of there. So I've got this little friend that's running around my house right now, and I've been watching on social media that a lot of people are buying these corn chips, and they're chopping them up and putting them in certain places, and they hear these little friends when they're eating them, and they start hollering. So this one particular friend has proven to be somewhat elusive. And I've ordered today 2 of those corn chips, which I'm going to grind up and put on a little dish for him and wait for him to do his thing. Hey, do you think that's cruel? Is that cruel? I mean, come on. That's not cruel. I mean, I've got property rights. This is America. I mean, he doesn't have a right to be here.
A lot of people like Takis.
But he's a squatter.
A lot of people like Takis.
So, okay,
I mean, if you feel bad, then perhaps you want to put some water on that trap too.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit there and let him holler, and I'm going to find out if he tries to get away. I'm going to plan to hear him holler in a bunch of different locations until I catch him. Then I might offer him some water as I escort him outside the house, but he gets away before I can find him. Is that cruel?
I'm glad you're going to escort him out, since it is Fat Meat Friday, and that is not anything I want you to consider as a meat.
But thank you. Is that cruelty though, to feed a mouse or a squirrel or a raccoon one of these taquitos or one of these little super hot tacos?
I'm a mothball girl myself, so I don't know.
You think mothballs are sufficient to get rid of
it?
These
definitely chases
seasonal
them away,
visitors.
and if they take a bite of it, it's not going to be good for them.
I keep my dishes, my pots and pans, my silverware in the refrigerator during this season, because I just don't want, a seasonal visitor to come through my place. Anyway, this is Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Gina, what you got in store for us with this greasy meat?
Well, first of all, we talked about a lot of things on the show this week. We just are never lost. And I remember the first presidency 1.0 being that way as well. It seems like there's much more to talk about. Everything from a Gaza peace treaty that didn't.
How about the $230 million shakedown of the Department of Justice? Who in the criminal justice system gets to get away with that? Where they can demand that the government pay them punitive damages for coming after them in the first place. And the attorney general is sitting there not knowing what to do. He's got all of his cronies in place who can sign off on the check. That's our money. And I don't know a criminal defendant in this country, even if they're determined not guilty by a jury, that isn't out of the money. The government is under no obligation to respond to you when you're indicted. You go before a grand jury and are indicted. It just doesn't have the in significant part of the criminal justice system is it makes you spend your money just to prove your innocence. And the government has an unlimited checkbook.
Yeah.
So, the idea that Donald Trump could very well be the first criminal defendant in the history of the United States to get a reimbursement from the U.S. government and claim punitive damages when the jury exonerates him in those 3 cases, but finds him guilty in another case of 34 felonies?
That's crazy.
Of course it's nuts.
But what are you going to do? That was a big question that we talked about this week. I heard Atiba talk about that on Wednesday. What are we going to do? We talked about that with Johnny Mack. What are you going to do? We talked about that with Barbara Armstrong. What are we going to do? We talked about that with Todd Erie. What are we going to do? How do we stand against this kind of blatant, growing, you said malignant. I'm going to come back to that word when we're in the next segment. Malignant tyranny.
I find it interesting that the No Kings March, which was probably the largest nonviolent protest in human history in 2,600 different locations. And then when we reflected upon the No Kings March with Johnny Mack on our Thursday program, The World House with Johnny Mack, where we explore the triple evils of militarism, racism, and materialism that Dr. King warned us about, that while the so-called March Against Kings wasn't as deep enough, from my perspective, to address the fundamental issues that keep our coalition together. And Dr. King pointed us to where the money was and should be directed. He said, militarism. Well, at the time he said that, I think the U.S. military budget was maybe $150 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, under Donald Trump, it is $1 trillion a year. That's where the money went. That's where the money went for our schools. That's where the money's going for our health care. That's where the money's going for our housing. You add that to the tax cut that he gave the wealthiest Americans, and that's where the money's going. Then you think about materialism, the values associated with a thing economy, a thing-oriented economy versus a people-oriented economy. And then you think about militarism, racism, and materialism. You think about the elevation and the rise of white supremacy in this era, unashamed, unabashed, and the elevation of some kind of white power movement. Gina, is deeply troubling.
It also seems to be some sort of attack and disregard for those who have less. Because I remember Trump in his first presidency and throughout, just any interviews here and there, you'll hear him talking about the homeless in Los Angeles. You'll hear him talking about the homeless in Chicago. And certainly I know that he's run into that in New York. We've got to go to break right now, but certainly I would love to pick up on that.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Me Fridays with Gina Towns. More when we come forward.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility security, and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
Life moves fast. That's why California makes voting easy. You don't have to wait until Election Day. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box, visit an early vote center, or mail it. Over 80% of Californians vote early, and you can too. Plus, when you sign up for Where's My Ballot, you'll get a text or email the moment your ballot is received and counted. Don't delay, vote today. Get more information at sos.ca.gov. A message from the California Secretary of State.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It is great to be in Leimert Park on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special host and contributor is none other than Gina Towns on Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity. Gina, welcome forward to the show.
Hey, well, thank you. And happy Friday. Happy every Friday to everybody that's out on the road, getting off a little bit early, working a half day in LA.
Gina, a little bit about malignant narcissism. Here's the definition. It is a severe and destructive combination of narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, traits with antisocial and sadistic behaviors. While not an official diagnosis of the DSM-5, it is recognized by mental health experts as the most dangerous and toxic form of narcissism. Here are the core characteristics. Malignant narcissists exhibit the classic traits of narcissism along with more harmful behaviors. This is often described as the dark triad: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, or the dark tetrad, adding sadism. Here are the traits. A grandiose sense of self, an inflated, unrealistic sense of self-importance, entitlement, and preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, or brilliance. Have we heard that? Not very intelligent, not very bright, didn't do very well on his testing. Fantasies of unlimited success. He can build anything in the world. There's nothing he can't accomplish, or power. 2, the need for admiration, a persistent craving for attention and praise from others. And you look at the cabinet that is number 47's, and you see that they figured out that he needs to be admired. A lack of empathy. He doesn't give a toot about you. An inability or unwillingness to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. He doesn't care about the American people. Antisocial traits, manipulation and exploitation, a willingness to use and take advantage of others for personal gain without remorse. They can be charming initially to win people over, but they never accept responsibility for any of their own behaviors. Aggression, emotional, verbal, potentially physical aggression, particularly when challenged or criticized, like blowing up little bitty boats in Venezuela for people that he's never met who are probably just fishing. And he blows them up. We can't even find the evidence of what it was that he says he blew them up for. Lack of conscience. They don't feel genuine guilt or remorse and could care less one way or the other with a bunch of fake emotions. If Donald Trump says our thoughts and prayers are with you, you better believe you are some kind of jacked up, because ain't no thoughts and prayers coming your way. And how about this, finally? A disregard for rules, an inclination to bend or break rules and abuse power. There are more: the sadistic traits, the paranoid traits, the sadistic narcissist, Sheena.
The sadistic, malignant narcissist.
That's like a tumor.
That's what I was going to say. It's, malignancy. It's not benign.
Yeah.
It is moving. It's growing. It's infecting.
Yeah.
Before we went to the break, we talked about the military budget, and we were also referencing, his comments and disdain for people who are without homes.
Yeah.
The bad part about that is you got a military budget that's $1 billion, but a lot of these people that are on the streets are military. They have come home from war. They have fought for this country. And, to not be able to get the help that you need after putting your life on the line. But if you've never had to put your life on the line for anything, then you don't understand what that feels like. You don't understand why you may come home and not be able to relate to your family at Thanksgiving dinner or any dinner for that matter, or to be able to hold a job. So without the mental therapy and help, without being able to really even get a job because you can't really cope, you find yourself on the street. That's a vicious circle right there. And so to not have any empathy or sympathy for that, and you are the leader
of the free world. I mean, I don't know where to go from there, other than the recognition that the country has a right to vote for the person of their choice. But in this case, they voted for an entertainer with major issues. And the issues that he has reflect someone who's not a pastor for all of the people, not someone who is educated or particularly concerned about the people, but we are literally looking, as Dr. Ted Williams said, at a reflection of ourselves in President Donald Trump. That was hard for me to swallow. Reflection of ourselves, Gina.
Well, who you pick.
Yeah.
Who you pick to marry.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and I will say this, because what is very key about narcissism, and it's unfortunate because 15 years ago, I didn't know what a narcissist was. But it took someone to explain to me some of the things that were occurring in my life and some of the relationships that I had to pinpoint it. So I had to go and read about it, and I had to say, oh, check. And you may not get all 10, but you'll get 9 of the 10. And it's a very uncaring. It is not capable of caring. So to keep looking for care is only to run around like this little mouse that you're talking about, that you want to feed something hot to.
I never said it was a mouse, Gina. You put my business in the street.
We said it was Ben.
I said it was a field visitor, a seasonal visitor. I'm gonna get him though. He's not gonna, I'm tired of running around my house looking for this little.
But it's like, that's what I feel like the American people are being treated like. We are in a maze of some sort. It's like, run here, run there. Here's a shock. Here's a little bit of sugar. To help this medicine go down. Let's go to a clip, because here's one of those things that comes along with narcissism. You don't like when people talk about you, or you feel like you have been singled out or even punished. Let's look at Letitia James, Attorney General in New York.
We have breaking news. New York Attorney General Letitia James is about to speak outside court after pleading not guilty to mortgage fraud charges. Let's listen.
I want to thank all of you, I want to. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit and it has anchored my soul. And so I want to thank you. But this is not about me. This is about all of us. And about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge and a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law.
Let's talk about the rule of law.
And then can we talk about Letitia James 2028? Because black women did very well in the last election. Kamala Harris was not successful because she could not build a coalition. But to see a strong black woman standing up right now in this moment, being charged by Donald Trump for a crime she did not commit, that she was absolved of, to run her through that process one more time. Listen, this I can promise you, she is going to be stronger in her broken places. And when she emerges from this, the Letitia James that we know today is going to be different than the Letitia James that we know tomorrow. And I see a place for her arguing the case of the weaponization of justice at the national level. And this moment right here should go down in the annals of our country as a very tragic moment for American democracy. But once again, black people step up to try and save it. Gina?
I appreciate her faith. I appreciate her courage. I appreciate her ability to speak that which is her faith and bring it into existence. That's where I see her going. I think that she is a model. She did not back down, or as we say here at KBLA, black down to the task at hand that she needed to perform. And here's the thing, when you are doing your job, and this really goes to Kamala as well, because a lot of people complained in California about her doing her job when she was the attorney general in California. And you must do your job. So we have to go back to, if don't do the time, don't do the crime. But once you have done the time, then you should be forgiven for it. We are in a nation that lacks forgiveness.
That's Beretta right there.
Yeah.
If you don't do the time, don't do the crime. I got it backwards, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember Beretta?
Listen, I remember Beretta.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Because you're throwing everybody in our audience back.
Right.
Back about 50 years ago when we were young people.
Yeah. So anyhow, back to the malignant narcissism that allows us to get retribution for, when we're upset about things. If you didn't do it, say you didn't do it. If you did do it, do your time. If you want to run for office after that, that's great. There is forgiveness. There is a lot to be said for people who do go sit down. We have biblical precedent for that. Moses killed somebody, but he went 40 years, came back and led the people out of Israel. So right now we have to look at who is going to lead us out of this present wilderness. There is nothing that I see that's positive necessarily, except for our faith and our hope. Everything from the Voting Rights Act, the gutting of that, nobody really talking about the fact that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment are basically about slavery.
Yeah, they speak to the racial condition. And so they want a colorblind constitution. But how do you get to a colorblind constitution without acknowledging that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are the amendments to the Constitution, one, that end slavery, number two, that guarantee the citizens equal protection of the law, particularly the newly freed slaves who were not considered U.S. citizens, and the 15th Amendment, which is very specific to African-American men having the right to vote. So you can't say that the Constitution is colorblind because 3 of its amendments are specifically colored specific to change the condition of a people from chattel slavery into a new order, into a new status, into a new existential and personal reality in the United States. So anyone who tells you the Constitution is colorblind, when at least 3 of the amendments to the Constitution, the turning points of the amendment to the Constitution, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment are specifically about color, they're just full of hogwash, garbage, crap. They're full of it. Gina?
I don't know if I could say it any better than that. That is the runaway from history. You know, and even while I'm at it, the runaway from history is profoundly displayed right here.
No, not tearing down the White House. What are your thoughts right there, Gina? We got about 2 minutes before the break. That looks like a house the Negroes built, and they tore down the Negro part. I mean, it's awful. I mean, if we're honest, I'm actually psychologically impacted, to be honest with you.
And it's purposeful.
Yeah, this is designed to show me that somebody can do anything. I mean, do you know what the consequences would be if you were an ordinary citizen and you did this to a government building or to the White House without all of the permissions granted and the historical significance of these particular rooms? And I mean, it's almost unimaginable what would happen to us if we did this.
But you see, this is one image that you can see. You can't see the tearing down of the Department of Education. You can't see the ripping apart of healthcare. You can't see the ripping apart of Social Security and all the things that are bedrocks of our society. But this is head on right here. This is to let you all know that everything that you did know, and it's also for shock value, but everything that you did know is no longer.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns and Reflectivity. More on KBLA when we come forward.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier's attorney says his client is not a gambler and plans to fight the charges.
The Hornets are out of the playoffs. He's a veteran that's been there. He's like, why am I going to make this injury worse?
Rozier is accused of faking an injury and sharing insider info for bets. Louisiana lawmakers opened a special session to tweak election laws ahead of 2026. The move comes as the state awaits a Supreme Court ruling on its congressional map, which includes 2 majority black districts. Lawmakers are debating whether to delay closed primaries from April to May, a change backed by Republicans but opposed by Democrats. And at least 3 people are dead and 5 are injured in Haiti after Tropical Storm Melissa triggered landslides and falling trees. Officials warned the storm could strengthen into a Category 4 hurricane by Sunday, bringing catastrophic flooding and landslides to Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's the World Series. These players live forever. Watch baseball at its finest. The World Series, presented by Capital One. Major League Baseball, trademarks,
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Some history will be made tomorrow afternoon in Las Vegas. The first ever HBCU football game will be played in the city. Grambling and Jackson State will meet up in the Las Vegas HBCU Classic at 3 o'clock. Check your local TV listings for live coverage in the LA area. The game will be played at Allegiant Stadium, home of the NFL Las Vegas Raiders. Grambling and Jackson State are members of the SWAC Conference. Grambling is 4-3. Jackson State is 5-1. Jackson State is number 11 in this week's NCAA Division I AA poll. The Tigers are the only HBCU team in the national rankings. There is a ton of tradition at Grambling and Jackson State. A combined 8 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame came from these two programs, 4 from Grambling and 4 from Jackson State. One of those 8 Hall of Famers is former Grambling wide receiver Charlie Joyner, who played 11 seasons with the San Diego Chargers. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580. The Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center proudly presents its 27th annual Real Black Men Short Film Showcase. Join us Saturday, October 25th at the Writers Guild Theater, 135 South Doheny Drive in Beverly Hills, California. This showcase will feature over 20 films by emerging Black male filmmakers from across the country, ready to let their stories be seen, voices be heard, and visions come to life. Saturday, October 25th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now on eventbrite.com. For more information, call 323-957-4656 or email bherc@bherc.org.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Hollywood Megan Good, Michael Hyatt, Golden Brooks, Ty Burrell, Christine Devine. They're all coming together on Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios for the Kids Film Awards, a red carpet celebration of young filmmakers from right here in Los Angeles. Presented by Kids in the Spotlight. The Kids Film Awards showcase original short films written, cast, and performed by local youth. Powerful stories across every genre From drama and comedy to action and suspense, it's a night that blends Hollywood energy with real community spirit, highlighting the future voices of film. These are the next generation of storytellers stepping onto one of Hollywood's biggest stages. Come out and experience a night filled with film, music, and inspiration, where creativity, community, and purpose meet. Tickets are available now at kitsinc.org. That's KITSINC.org. The 2025 Kits Film Awards, Saturday, November 1st at Paramount Picture Studios. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey!
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns. Gina Towns is the president and founder of 519 Productions. She's also the producer of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Gina, just before the break, you were showing me an amazing reflection by The Simpsons on Donald John Trump. But you know, I grew up in an era where Schoolhouse Rock mattered. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. There's a new parody. Why don't we play that clip?
Woo, you sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be a law someday.
One day,
I pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill.
Oh, Gina, isn't there more to that? Than,
there's more to it.
Oh, you got a part two, don't you?
I got
Here
a
we go.
part two.
Here come the Negro version.
Just the files. Yes, I'm only the files sitting here in secretive piles. Why are they hiding you? That's a long, long.
So,
wait. Okay, no, I won't play it again. So,
what we're looking at right here is a little Negro boy with an afro. Looks like he's one of the Jacksons from 1972 cartoons. He's sitting right there on Capitol Hill with a file. And yes, he's just a file. He's only got a file. And he's the Epstein files. And he's just sitting here in a pile. And he's looking for someone to bring forward the data. And I don't think we can ignore the fact that the president's malignant narcissism is tied to his inability to accept responsibility for some of his behaviors. And the more people press this Epstein button, the more he loses his absolute
the
mind.
East Wing of the White House. How about that?
I mean,
I'm just trying to tell you. So the reason why we do this back to back is so we could show what Congress and the government is supposed to be doing. I'm just a bill. Some people back home had an idea for a law, and I said, "You're right, Mr. Congressman. Let me go and introduce this so it can become a law and be good for the people, we the people." But then you get this right here, the Epstein, I'm just a file. Yes, I'm only a file, and I'm sitting here in a pile. Well, why are you just sitting here? Because we don't want people to know.
Because we don't want people to know the truth.
And so we will do every smoke and mirror trick. So in our last segment, I loved when Ted Williams said that our president is an entertainer. I also look at him as a ring master, a master of a circus. In this ring, we have the elephants. and the lady twirling on top.
Mm.
Up above, we have the gymnast on the tightrope. Over here, we have lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
Mm.
And so that's the way that the public is getting inundated day after day with this, that, and the other. And so there's so many things going on behind the scenes. And we are not a society that is very patient. We are not a society that is given to doing research anymore, finding out for ourselves. We have a couple of generations who get their news, and my daughters tell me at TikTok, and I'm sure there are some very great stories that come out. There are some great historians that are on, but we really have to do better. But it is draining. I get it. We're all drained.
Yeah, no, I think it's exhausting. And I think, can you imagine being married to this guy? I mean, can you imagine?
I think Melania can't be imagine being married.
How about the other two? I mean, this is 24/7 hours a day of reflection upon yourself and how the world itself gravitates and exists around you. Can you imagine?
So, yes, I can, because I know a lot of women who have been married to narcissists, full-blown narcissists, and have children that they have to consider in that circumstance. And I am in no way comparing that to, our present subject matter, but I do want to get on that. I think it's important for us because this kind of insanity continues to drive insanity, and people have to know what they're looking at when they see this, to know what they're even dealing with in their own households. It's really important.
I've never seen anything like it. I don't think the American people are, and it's a long way from where the founders were when they thought that the chief executive of the United States should be a person of character. It's a profoundly flawed system, but in spite of it, we've got to work through it anyway.
Is the system flawed, or are the people who run the system flawed?
I think the system is flawed. I think it was conceived with good intentions. I think that the idea of amending it to some level of perfection accepted by the people would be inevitable. I don't think the architects of our republic could have fully appreciated that what would have been a simple amendment process for 13 states initially, and then ultimately 50. By the time it becomes 50, becomes such an extraordinary process. We get locked into the same jacket that we were wearing as if we were boys or girls, but it locks us forever under the regimen of our barbarous ancestors. And that's true. I mean, we must have a constitution, according to Thomas Jefferson, that fits the times. It has to be relevant to what our needs are. We need equal high quality schools. We need equal high quality healthcare. We deserve the right to fresh water and to clean air. That's the right to a decent, safe, and affordable environment. We deserve the rights to decent, safe, and affordable housing. We deserve in a democracy the right to vote. I mean, the Constitution is deficient on the most important questions that undergird what it means to be an American and American life.
But that's what the amendment process is for. That's why you got 13, 14, and 15. And when people take it and use it for something else, it's an affront to the idea and the experiment itself.
Gina, we might need a whole new Bill of Rights. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. This is Fat Meat Fridays on KBLA Talk 1580, Reflectivity with Gina Towns. More when we come forward, and a word of hope from Gina Towns at the end of our show.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in the National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4th. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
Life moves fast. That's why California makes voting easy. You don't have to wait until Election Day. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box, visit an early vote center, or mail it. Over 80% of Californians vote early, and you can too. Plus, when you sign up for Where's My Ballot, you'll get a text or email the moment your ballot is received and counted. Don't delay, vote today. Get more information at sos.ca.gov. A message from the California Secretary of State.
The Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center proudly presents its 27th annual Real Black Men Short Film Showcase. Join us Saturday, October 25th at the Writers Guild Theater, 135 South Doheny Drive in Beverly Hills, California. The showcase will feature over 20 films by emerging Black male filmmakers from across the country, ready to let their stories be seen, voices be heard, and visions come to life. Saturday, October 25th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now on eventbrite.com. For more information, call 323-957-4656 or email bherc@bherc.org.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Wow, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive and we don't black down.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns, the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the president of 519 Productions. Gina, welcome forward to the final segment of our show.
Thank you for having me.
Gina,
Jesse,
your thoughts on where we go from here.
Listen.
And you've seen the No Kings March, you've seen the rallies, you've seen the resistance. Beyond that one moment in news, we have primaries and an election coming up in 2026. Do you think it's going to translate into a political movement that benefits Hakeem Jeffries, that benefits progressives across the country to actually stop authoritarianism and what we're experiencing in the unilateralism of Donald Trump?
No. I say that because during the break, I gave this a lot of thought as well. And as you can see on the screen, this book came out.
Not Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Yeah, this is the young lady that committed suicide. She was violated by a number of people in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. I think her book is a bestsellers right now.
It is a bestseller because people have to become awake to these spiritual things. And when I talked about Letitia James and the way that she stands and the way that she positions herself, the words, the way she even forms the words in her mouth is evidence of her faith. And all of the things that we are experiencing, if you take all the sum of all of what we talked about this week with our Reverend Dr. Todd S. Uri, Esquire, 1 foot in the courtroom and 1 foot in the pulpit. And Dr. Teresa Hort Owens was here, and Ernest Krim, and all of the people. And we certainly can't forget Barbara Arnwine, who is really out here fighting the battle. But we can fight the battle. But even as we were talking about the founders, one of the important things about it, and whether 150 years of slave notwithstanding, when they came to write this document, they still based it in faith. They still based it in God and their belief in God. And so when you look at a nation who has really kind of just, we talked about with Ted, the culture has turned to everything that is not healthy, to call a woman the words that are in some of the songs. That's your mama. That's your sister. That's your wife. That's your friend. For men. And I mean, and it goes across cultures. It's not like this is something that is planted in it's the United States. It is that in God we don't trust anymore. It is that we don't have a Bible in the courtroom to put our hand on. Even if we were to lie, that meant something to some people. And so when you look at all of the things that are befalling us as a nation, I think there's a shared responsibility that, it doesn't apply to everybody. So I'll say this, like Tony Chapman, if you're listening, learn not to burn. So if it doesn't apply to you, but then we're required to pray about it. We're required to give ourselves to fasting and prayer. So I think there's a lot going on here. And we look at this young lady who tries to tell her story. This is part of the American story. When you think about the fact that she committed suicide, there are so many people who are at the edge, at the brink of what they're doing. And so I just think that we have to really kind of get back to our faith. And I remember Ernest Krim said that people are in his generation returning to church.
I think that's admirable. I do think that that we have to give that some part of our reflection.
So I do have a clip. If we can play the clip from this book.
Before we begin this morning, a few words of caution. The following story touches on mature subjects, and viewer discretion is advised. It's the story of Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, whose posthumous memoir comes out this week. Here's Tracy Smith.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day.
If the tragedy of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring had a face, it might have been this woman, Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Before she died from suicide last April at the age of 41, she wrote an unflinching memoir, Nobody's Girl, with the hope it would be published in case of her death.
Do you think about that when you're walking around New York, that so much of it actually happened here?
I absolutely do. It's changed the city for me.
Co-author and journalist Amy Wallace spent more than 4 years writing with Giuffre, who's been celebrated for her honesty and questioned by some about the accuracy of her memories.
So as far as you could tell, her memory was pretty crystal clear.
What she always said to me was, I may not remember days, times, dates, but when you have a man raping you, his face 6 inches from your own, you remember that face.
Virginia Giuffre said Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, recruited her to the sex ring in 2000.
I mean, I'm saddened by this. I'm saddened by the fact that she didn't get help while she was alive. I'm saddened that no one heard her story until she's deceased. I'm sad for the dozens, if not hundreds, of victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but women who throughout our country and our world go through this every single day and their voices remain hidden. And yet it is part of their traumatic psychological makeup because they've been through something that they don't ever want to discuss. I'm saddened by that. And so much of the pain of this moment actually directs our politics because our national leader is running from something that has driven someone to give up on this world entirely. And I'm saddened by that. The government is not on her side. And it seems like any kind of government, Gina, that would be pursuing justice should be willing to fight this young lady's battle for herself, this grown woman and deceased woman's battle themselves. Gina, we have about 2 minutes before we come forward. I'm saddened by what I've seen.
Sure. So our sober word has to find hope in it. Our sober word is that when we think about rape in the physical sense, that's fine. But we all experience a sort of rape of our minds, our hearts, our emotion, when we don't consider one another. And so if I can leave anything, is that in this hour, we must consider one another, our neighbor, our family members that we're not getting along with the best, that politics can't divide us at our dinner tables, that what we espouse to our children when they come home from school and ask us questions about what's going on, that we are honest, but we also show compassion, that we do the work that needs to be done, that we are not afraid to be a seed that is sacrificed, and that we plant seeds and sow them, water them, and allow light to shine.
I think that's every one of our prayers. I think that's our fervent appeal. Gina, well, thank you for another Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity.
Thank you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come back next week on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I look forward to seeing or listening to and talking with each and every one of you as best we possibly can on next Monday. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.